Welcome back to For the Record. A Republican-authored bill at the state capitol seeks to bar Wisconsinites from using absentee drop boxes in elections. But this fight is nothing new in Wisconsin. In July 2022, the conservative majority on Wisconsin's Supreme Court banned drop boxes outside of election clerks' offices. But in April of 2023, the court's ideological majority flipped, and 3 months later, a lawsuit asked the High Court to revisit its decision. 1 year later, the court ruled officials can place ballot drop boxes around their communities. And Tuesday, the latest attempt to undo that move went before the Assembly Committee on Campaigns and Elections. It may be one of the shortest bills of the legislative session, but with one line, this proposal from Representative Lindy Brill could once again change the landscape of Wisconsin elections.
Absentee ballot drop boxes do not encourage confidence in the result of our elections.
But that sentiment is met with opposition.
I am extremely opposed to this bill.
At a hearing on Tuesday, Greene County Clerk Ariana Vogelli speaking against Brill's proposal to ban drop boxes in Wisconsin.
There is nothing that requires any clerk or municipality to use a drop box. But by prohibiting the use of drop box, it takes away that choice from everybody.
Absentee ballot drop boxes put ballots in danger of tampering with little to no benefit to voters. AB 560 is a simple bill, which will go a long way towards reinforcing citizens' trust in the security of elections.
Brill fighting an uphill battle Tuesday to convince fellow Republicans on the committee that the bill could get past the desk of Democratic Governor Tony Evers.
So my problem is a reality-based problem, a political problem. My first question is, do you see Governor Evers signing this bill?
Fair question. No, unfortunately.
And Brill not entertaining any regulatory amendments to the legislation. She also credited President Donald Trump for leading charge on the issue.
Do you think that we should be legislating based on what the president wants or what the people of Wisconsin want?
I think a little bit of both, depending on the issue. I think turning to our president for direction isn't a bad thing.
Voters used drop boxes in 2024 when President Trump won the state. And clerks like Vogelli maintain that the boxes are safe and secure.
Even if somebody could get a stack of blank ballots and pull a bunch of voter names to put on the certificate envelope, there are so many other checks and balances downflow from that process that will allow us to see that something is not right.
Now, also at Tuesday's meeting, lawmakers discussed another elections-related bill, AB 617. A bipartisan amendment to the bill proposed allowing absentee ballots to begin getting processed the Monday before Election Day. Current law does not allow the processing until the day of. The bill also seeks enhanced reporting for clerks on election night, circuit courts alerting the Elections Commission when someone is deemed incompetent to vote, eliminating the use of central counting locations, and changing the required testing of voting equipment from 10 days before the election to 15. In a Thursday hearing, Vice Chair of the Assembly Committee on Campaigns and Elections, Republican Representative Scott Krug, said his caucus was not fully on board with the bill, and he had to, quote, punt it, and that it will not happen in the fall floor calendar. However, Krug did say he wanted to see the bill pass in the future. And State Superintendent Jill Underly came face-to-face with the state lawmakers this week after previously skipping a hearing on sexual misconduct in Wisconsin schools. The Department of Public Instruction is facing backlash for its handling of sexual misconduct claims in schools. That's after a Capital Times investigation found 200 incidents of educator sexual misconduct or grooming in a 5-year period. During a Senate Committee on Education hearing, Underly defended her department, saying it follows state statute but could use more resources. At a press conference before that hearing, Underly unveiled a new database to track revoked or surrendered educator licenses.
Exploring ways to include information about why a license was revoked or surrendered. And we do everything in our power to remove those who harm children from classrooms, and we do it urgently and decisively. Unfortunately, some have chosen to use this deeply sensitive issue to score political points.
This is after Washington County Executive and gubernatorial candidate Josh Schoeman called for her resignation, and several Republican congressmen sent a letter to the governor demanding transparency.
So you say we're making political points or people are making political hay. My frustration is the legislature is getting blamed for stuff, and now you're able to make some counteractions and make some recommendations, which is great. But where was all this before the article ran?
Underly also released other steps she's hoping to take, including establishing statewide standards, modernizing licensing, and strengthening laws. And on Monday, Republicans proposed a bill to make grooming a felony in state law, something Underly says she's in favor of. And Wednesday, a bipartisan committee voted to audit DPI about suspicions, restrictions, revocations, and investigations into educational licenses. The audit, which the agency would conduct itself, will look into the trends in allegations and investigations of recent years. The time elapsed when DPI received the allegation and when it did or didn't begin the investigation, whether the agency's policies comply with state statutes and administrative requirements, and the steps taken to revoke, suspend, or restrict accused teachers' educational licenses. And this, as a new report from the Wisconsin Policy Forum shows, a growing number of Wisconsin teachers have emergency licenses. To obtain one of those, someone needs to have earned a bachelor's degree and passed a background check. Then they can work as an educator for 3 years, while earning the standard teaching licenses. Last year, teachers with emergency licenses made up nearly 4% of public school positions across the state that requires DPI licenses. Now, between 2022 and 2024, the number of emergency licenses went up nearly 20%. Researchers say this reflects Wisconsin's teacher shortage and that districts are no longer using it as a tool to fill vacancies, but rather relying on it as a necessity. And next on For the Record, the race for Wisconsin's next lieutenant governor is underway. How the field is starting to shape up.